thing you should never lose, no matter how big you grow, how big you get. Never lose that aspect of always being willing to learn. Never think you know everything, because truth be told, hakuna mtu anajua kila kitu. Nobody knows everything. Even when I was an anchor, I know for a fact that you didn't know everything, so you always have to be willing to learn. Okay, I feel like I've already said too much, and there's still so many minutes that I have. But basically, that has been my journey, my story. And I think my mantra is know what you want and go for it. Identify what it is you want with your life, because you pretty much can't be everywhere. So a classic example being like what I did in terms of identifying what I wanted, that is being in the media industry. Because, by the way, my dad, he passed on in 2016. It was a really terrible, trying moment for me and my family, my mom, my brother. But my dad was a doctor, my mom is a teacher. And at some point, I would have been a nurse today, because I did even, go to KMTC and I interviewed and I qualified, by the way. But the letter, JQuat, it came before the KMTC one, and I therefore proceeded to to JQuat rather, for mass communication. And I say, know what you want, because if I look back to even my years in primary, I took part a lot in music festivals, drama festival. I would do a lot of, the choral verses, the solo verses, public speaking. In fact, not to brag, but in class 6, I was, second nationally. So basically, this shows that this is something that I had right from the start, right from Kitambo. And I basically got to identify that this is what I wanted for myself, and I ran with it. And that is basically what I know most of you are doing. And I would also want maybe some who are not doing that to also just do that, identify what it is you want and run with it. Now, I said something when I was starting about not being afraid to start small. And even the Bible mentions it, do not despise humble beginnings. But God, actually, we got from the top, you have to start from bottom up. And I think there's pride in that. There's pride in looking back and seeing that this is where I came from. Actually, I'm in, I think it's called Glam My Home or something on Facebook. Is that Facebook page called Glam My Home. And people post pictures of their humble beginnings. Unaona mtu alianza kwa bed sitter, and then, they moved into, say, a 1-bedroom, and then they moved into a 2-bedroom, and now they're living in their own house. And there's beauty in looking back and seeing how far you've come from. So basically, that is just the whole point of not despising the humble beginnings. And at this point, I want to jump straight forward and take you to, like, for instance, where I am right now at CGTN. And the whole point with all this is do not be afraid to take risks. Because when I resigned, I remember I made the announcement on January 17th this year, and everybody was calling me, asking me, what's up? What happened? Were you fired? By the way, some thought, I was shown the door and all that. And some people just could not understand why I decided to make the switch. But for me, it was just one of those risks that I would say, do not be afraid of taking them. Because at the end of the day, it is worth it. I mean, if you succeed, you've succeeded. Even if it doesn't succeed, you learned something. It's an experience. And I think in this life, you just need to, just equip yourself with a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, because that is also how you learn these things. Now, when Matthew contacted me on Facebook, should be about 3-4 weeks ago, he told me, or rather he gave me some 2 topics, which I actually really love. That is a balancing between talent, fame, and career with integrity, and how to scale the corporate ladder without compromising personal integrity. And I love those 2 because that is pretty much what I am about. And I love speaking particularly to young girls, women. I'm sorry for the men here, but I love speaking with them because I am one of them. And I know the challenges that we face, not just in this industry of mine, the media industry, but overall. I know the challenges that we face. But of course, those challenges too also, have everything to do with the men too. And I think we'll be seeing that once I get to that. But basically, I just want us to start with like a definition of talent, a definition of integrity. Now, Matthew did share a link of what you had with apologies for this, but Matthew did share something with me of the. All right, I'm back. Okay, Matthew shared something of that discussion you had with Wahiga Maora. He pretty much explained what integrity is. And basically the definition of integrity is being honest and having strong moral principles. But I liked something Wahiga said, because he gave, if you can remember, that picture of a cartoon that he shared with you with two birds, saying integrity means doing what is right, even if it hurts. And then the other bird said, especially if it hurts. I hope you can remember that from one of our previous speakers, Wahiga. And that is pretty much what integrity is, because it's never easy making that right decision. Now, if I could take it back to talent, of course, talent is something that you're naturally born with, but I think it's important to learn how to translate that from talent to skill, because we've seen a lot of people, we know a lot of orators, Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, just to mention but a few, but these are people who are able to turn the talent into skill. Actually, I'm reminded of something that I watched yesterday. I believe it was on KTN Home, Millennial on the Move. It's always there, I think, from around 7:30 p.m. And they had this lady, Agib, dancer. Maybe you would know her. She featured prominently on one of the Sauti Soul videos. I forget what song it was, but she did feature prominently. And she was speaking of how her talent has taken her to places. She was saying, it's difficult. It's telling someone that I am a professional dancer because one would ask, is that the only thing you do? When you tell someone you're a professional dancer, they want to know, Akura kitu unafanya on the side, there's nothing else that you do to bring food to your table. Basically, she was talking about how talent has been able to, of course, number one, feed her, and take her to different places, take her to different people, different countries, and all that. And that is just an example of how just something small, dancing, which a lot of people, a lot of you perhaps know how to. I don't. I'm that type that has two left feet, but a lot of people do it and perhaps take it for granted. But if you are able to build it to a skill, then it is something that you can work with that can actually feed you. Now, in this entire journey, I think I should have actually started with this, but it's always important to remember or to have an anchor, to be anchored somewhere. And for me, proudly, my anchor is God. That is where I am anchored. Because if you're anchored in God, if you're anchored in your faith, there are certain things that you just cannot do. There are certain things that you believe in God, that the fact that you have this belief in God, there's some things that you cannot do. And that goes hand in hand with integrity. Perhaps Wahiga mentioned this to you. I didn't listen to that beat, but you will get some offers, not even whatever you might be thinking, but the people who would even tell you, they give you this amount of money to do this story, and you listen to what kind of story it is. But if it doesn't have that positive impact, that is where the integrity comes in. That is where what you're anchored in or who you're anchored in comes in. Now, there was talent, there was career, and there was fame. And let's talk about the fame, because nobody prepares you for it. You pretty much just get into this career and you're here for the job. But before you know it, of course, being on TV and being on TV, daily for that matter, means a lot of people know you. And that is where the fame comes in, and nobody prepares you for it. Actually, in all the classes that I attended at JQuat, I don't remember, someone preparing me for the fame. And I am not that famous. I reckon that, but there's that. There's Matthew, why are you laughing? There's some bit of fame that comes with this, and as I said, nobody prepares you for it. And I think that's where you and your God, you come in, because He has to teach you how to deal with it so that it doesn't get to your head, because it can. You can go around bragging about hire on TV and all that, but you have to take care for this not to get into your head. And how it does not get into your head, one of the ways of ensuring it doesn't is having the right people surrounding you, having the right people around you, the mentors and everything, and family and friends, people who can bring you back to line, people who can hold you accountable if they see, you're starting to move in a direction that you're not supposed to. And for me, those people are my mother and the man who's in my life. And there's my brother, but of course, he's young, he's in class 8, so he pretty much will not be able to put me on check for in that line. But it's important to have people who can hold you accountable, because sometimes this thing could get into your head without your knowledge, by the way. All of a sudden you start changing, a change which yourself, by the way, you're not noticing. You haven't noticed the change, but if you have someone close to you, that person can easily tell that, Grace, kuna venye kitambo alikuwa anaongea hivi, nowadays ameanza kutwang kidogo, nowadays ameanza to behave like a certain person that Grace is not. And so you need people who will keep you in check regarding that. Now, this whole fame, as you put it, as Matthew puts it, comes with a lot of expectations. Financially, there are people who, like, I remember when I was at K24 and as an intern, and as an intern, I was still dependent on my parents. So, because you're not paid, by the way, like for 7 months, I was on air, but with no pay. So what that means is my rent, I'm depending on my parents. My fare, I'm depending on them. Food, kila kitu, I'm dependent on them. But because I'm on TV, someone somewhere thinks I have made it. As again, I'm sorry because I'm using Matthew as a reference point so many times. But as he said, people think umeomoka, so people see you on TV and think, oh, Grace alienda vizuri, but I'm still dependent on them. So I remember there's a friend of mine who actually one day sent me a text, saying, Grace, nisaidie 10K. And truth be told, mimi sikuwa nayo, like I didn't have it for myself. So I'm here wondering, Kama, if I don't even have that kind of money for me, how am I going to get that money for you? But as such people, and you tell them, you don't have, they think now you became proud, you don't want to help. But truth is, sometimes you may not actually have, or even if you have the money, probably you have other needs, you have a family, you have children that you need to pay school fees for, and all the other bills. Perhaps you're investing, you're building, and all that. And so people would pretty much not understand when you tell them that you don't have. But I don't really want to dwell on that aspect of financially, but that is just some of the expectations that people have financially. And also, the other expectation is your lifestyle. People expect you to have a certain lifestyle change. I mean, once you're on TV, they expect, number one, you should not even be using any, public means, PSVs. You shouldn't be using them. You should live in a certain estate. There's a certain place you shouldn't live. There's a certain way you should wear, you should dress and all that. But I say, don't succumb to that. Don't succumb to the pressure, because these are people giving you views of how you should live your life. But number one, they're not even financing it. Like nobody's coming and saying, Grace, shika hii nikuongezee, and then you move to this place that I believe you should be living. So it is important to know yourself, and how you know yourself is again falling back to God, because He is the one who describes, He's the one who tells you who you are. So yes, exactly, the pressure of expectations I see that from John. Yes. So, and actually, this is something that I'm telling you from experience, because there's a certain time, I think, still at K24, and someone came to visit me, and they're like, "Hi, Grace, well, 5 please come." I'm like, okay, so where am I supposed to live? I'm a finance. No, okay, I didn't want the person to finance me, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, if you have this opinion of where I should stay, then why don't you give me the money to stay where you want me to stay, or dress how you want me to dress, eat what you want me to eat, hang out where you want me to hang out? Because, by the way, I don't know if you know GNR. If anybody knows GNR, you can just let me know, maybe in the chat there. But I frequent that place a lot for OG. I love the porridge there. So some people would expect you to hang out, in other posh places, which I do sometimes. But then again, what I'm trying to say is, don't lose yourself in all of this. Don't all of a sudden start hanging out in places where, number one, you don't even enjoy. Number two, it's just not what you want. Don't do it for people. If you have to do it, because then again, systemiati ujinyime and all that, do it because you want to. Do it because it makes you happy. Now, the third expectation, and this is where I want us to dwell, is in all of a sudden you become a role model. All of a sudden you start hearing people say, children maybe, but you start hearing them say, when I grow up, I want to be like Grace Kuria. And you're like, wow. You don't even know the journey that I've been through, what I've been through to be where I am, but you would understand, because, as I said, especially the children, because they pretty much don't understand all this. Someone just sees you on TV and they want to be like you. And this comes with a lot of responsibilities, because what that tells you is there's someone who is watching you. There's someone who is watching you, how you talk, how you do your things. And chances are that person will be inspired, or the way that person does their things is dependent on what you do, on how you do it. And that gives you that, you can either look at it as a burden or a responsibility. But I choose to look at it as a responsibility, as a privilege, actually, because again, I remember, like, as I told you, my brother, he's currently in class 8, grade 8, as they call it now. And actually, anafa komemaliza, quite not for COVID, but it's all good. So the times I'll go to his school, the primary school, and I'm to visit him. But all of a sudden, his classmates, yes, his classmates will be like, talk to us. And I'm like, God, what do I even tell you? But there's so much expectations from people for you that you don't always have to meet. But as I said, just be you and do you. So there's someone who, as I said, is looking up to you. And so you always have to say, live right, but still be you. Don't pretend, don't pretend to be who you are not. Just be you, be a good person, and just do good and be you. Now, you also need to know that being like where I am or where I was, there's so much, again, that is expected from you. You have a lot of influence. You have the power to influence people to do good, do bad. I mean, if I could give an example of like social media, I have quite a following on Twitter, and that tells you that you have the ability to drive people the way you would want them to. So why don't you take that opportunity to do good? Why don't you, like for me, for instance, because I was unwell last year, that is 2019. I mean, it's a long story. It was 3 good months of pain, of sickness. And eventually the diagnosis that I was given was a disease that has no cure. That is what my doctor said. But the good thing, the greatest thing about that is that a day after being told that what you have has no cure, the following day I got healed miraculously, by the way, because that is a miracle. So I decided to take advantage of that, of me being in a position where people can see what I post. A lot of people can't see that. So I decided to take that and use it for God's glory. because me, I'm in Ponya, by the way. Of course, actually, I told you my dad was a doctor, and there's something he used to have in this terms that they have. We treat, God heals. So yes, there's a whole team of doctors that was involved, but the person who healed me was God. So I decided to use that platform that I have to give all the glory back to him, because he is the one who did it now. And on that point of social media, it is also important to choose what you get into your head, especially because on social media, people can be rude for no reason. People can be heartless. I mean, you can just post an innocent photo of you, and somebody is commenting something that is, not necessary, an insult, could be a criticism of how you look like. Yet I like saying nobody chose to look the way they look like. Hakuna mtu aliapply akasema, God, I have a forehead. So hakuna mtu aliapply akasema, God, I want a small forehead, a nose that is shaped, how, and all that. Nobody did that. We all just found ourselves the way we are right now. So this whole, I think, cyberbullying, especially or rather depending on how people look like, that number one for me is totally uncalled for, because as I said, nobody applied to look like the way they look. So back to my point, basically a lot of people will say anything they want on social media. These are usually people just, I know you know this, hiding, behind the keyboards and typing whatever it is they want. So you have to be really careful on what you are letting in, okay, you have to be really, really careful on what you take in. Now, let's talk about discipline. And discipline, actually, there's that quote that says that, it's on character. Talent can take you places, but character keeps you there, or discipline keeps you there. Assume today I get that, I'm at CGTN right now, and I decide to now get to my comfort zone, and I'm reporting to work at whatever time I want to, and I'm not doing what is expected of me. I'm not delivering as required because I think nimefika. That will take me down real fast. Trust you me. The same way umepanda haraka, that's the same way you're gonna go down so fast. So you need that discipline and never lose it, regardless of where you get in life, regardless of what you achieve in life, because all of us, even all of us here, I know we all have dreams. I know we all have what we want to achieve in life. So when you get there, never forget where you came from, number one, the humble beginnings, and don't get to that comfort zone. Ulifika, there's nothing that can be done. So that is really, really key. Now, always strive to be the best version of you possible. Not all of us can be anchors, TV anchors. Not all of us can be reporters. Not all of us can do what Matthew does. Not all of us can do what each one of you does. You may be, my tailor is just just a few blocks from where I stay, but I go to him because he is the best tailor. I know tailors have this reputation of unampelekea nguo leo, and he tells you come get it in the evening at 6 p.m. and when you go, he's not even started working on it. But be disciplined in whatever it is that you're doing and strive to be the best in that thing. Now imagine if you're the best tailor, an example, if you're the best tailor, what that means is everybody will be queuing, will be lining up to come get your services. And of course, that translates to money, because apart from the passion and the experience, you're also in what you do. I believe one of the other motivations for all of us waking up every day and going to work is, the money aspect. So being the best tailor, for instance, means everybody will come to you, will come to get your services. And that won't matter. I mean, like me personally, that tailor of mine that I'm talking about, even if I go there and find he has like two people that he's dealing with, two people on the line before me, I will wait because he's the best. Shoeshiner, for instance, for the men, mostly, doesn't mean that we don't get our shoes like, but for the men, mostly, I see some men in town, purposely or queuing at that one specific shoe shiner. I mean, there's a shoe shiner just next to him, but they choose to go to this one. Why? Because he's the best. And these are jobs that some people may despise. They're like, I mean, who is a tailor, who is a shoe shiner, who is a cleaner. But if you're the best, everybody will come to you. Everybody will run to you for your services. And again, as I have said, that will translate to, all the money and all the experience that you need. Now, something else is as you how do I put it? As you don't despise humble beginnings, I don't know if that's correct English, don't also despise other people who perhaps you think are below you. There's this photo that does rounds on social media of Obama saying hi, the gota thing, to one of the cleaners in White House or something. And that is part of one thing that I admire about this man, this president, president of the United States, and humble enough to have this relationship with people who the society sometimes deems lesser people when they actually are not. These people are our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, and all that. So never lose that aspect of being disciplined and being a person who respects everyone, regardless or despite of what type of job they do. Now I'm almost winding up. It's 8:45. But there's something that I needed, or I feel the need and the urge to speak about, especially in this career of ours. And I'm actually going to say it because you remember those comments that I was talking to you about, that I told you about on social media, where somebody just posts anything. When I moved to CGTN, now of course posted it on social media, someone on Twitter had the nerve, the guts to comment and say, "Uko sure haukulala na mtu? You sure you didn't sleep with someone to get that job?" And I was shocked because of the guts, because I'm like, I mean, hata kusikia aibu kiniuliza swali kama hiyo. So husikia aibu just putting it out there in the open for everybody to see how you think, what's in your head, for everybody to see that. Hausikii any form of aibu. But basically, the thing is, that person perhaps spoke for many others, because people think, especially for women, and I don't know why, people assume that whenever a woman achieves something, and I'm sure you've seen this, even a lot of the appointments that most of our women have had in, say, the government, ukipitia tu comments, the most of the comments, so most of the questions are usually about this person sleeping with, the bosses to get that job. And that is not right, number one. But then again, that doesn't mean that people don't do that. Some people do, but it's not right to assume that everybody does that. So what's the solution? The solution is, I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted from some of the comments, but the solution is to just don't do it. That's where integrity comes in. If you ever get to a position where somebody is asking you to pay them in kind with your body, and by the way, I'm not just speaking to the women alone, this also happens to men with, some female bosses, and it's so unfortunate. But if you ever get yourself in such a position, just say no. I know it may be hard, because sometimes you really need the job, you really need the money, but just say no. Why? Because any position you get that is not out of merit, you will always have to pay to keep it. And how are you going to pay for it? Same thing. The same way you got the job is the same way you're going to have to keep it. And actually, I just remembered something that happened when I was an intern at K24. And some people thought this was an easy way of getting things done. So you see, when an intern comes, an intern is fresh, and you lure them into doing some things so that they can get a job. As an intern, you fall for it, but you're forgetting you're not the first intern, by the way. Neither will you be the last. So yes, you do whatever it is you did or you do to get that job, but someone else will come after you. And now this person who was asking for this favor from you, I don't know whether to call it a favor, from you to get this job, will do the same with someone else. And once that someone else comes in, then you will be rendered useless, perhaps because there's a replacement for you. So what am I trying to say? What I'm saying is it's hard. It could be hard to say no, especially when you really need it, especially at times like this with Corona and everything just shooting up. Cost of living is just high up there, and you would perhaps need that job. But just say no, because even God up there is watching and he will always provide something else. But again, we could just look at how to solve all this. And I think the solution is for even maybe some of you here who could be employers. The solution could be, just not asking for this advances, these favors from people, because it puts people in compromising situations. I personally, thank God, I've never been in such a position, in such a situation, never ever. But I know for a fact that if I ever found myself in such a situation, the answer would be no. It would hurt, number one, because why would you even think of asking me to do such a thing to get this job? And number two, because I probably need that job. But again, always choose to do the right thing. Remember what Wahiga told you? Doing the right thing, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Now that would hurt, but of course, choosing to do the right thing. Now, I'm wrapping up now. I know I've said that a lot of times, but I just want to leave you with a few things. I'm just looking at some of my notes here, just in case I left out something. But just a few things that I want to leave you with. Of course, I did talk to you about character keeping you up there once ability has taken you to the top. But Lupita Nyong'o told us our dreams are valid, no matter where you come from. I mean, you've had stories of people who've made it. No, made it. Actually made it. Or omokad, as we started by saying. You've had their stories, and they always have a story. Wanakwamba wametoka mahali. Most of them have come from very humble backgrounds, but they dreamt. So Lupita told us our dreams are valid. And I'm here telling you today, do not be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to dream anything, because you can be anything you want to be. I know you have had that. It's probably cliche. It's possible. It is very much possible. Dream whatever it is you want to be. And now, after dreaming, strategize towards it. If, for instance, you currently have a job right now and you want to be somewhere else in future, look for the qualifications of that job or that position you want to be in future. Look for the qualifications. Does it require a master's degree, for instance? And I only have a degree right now. If it requires a master's degree, then start working towards it. You don't have to do it tomorrow, Sunday or Monday. You don't have to, but start working towards it. Start saving if you need to save for the masters, or looking for scholarships and all that. Start aligning yourself towards being that which, or that which you want to be. And something else is also, lastly, I think, if I could take you back to what I started with, remember your anchor. And I said, and I believe, even for most of you here, my anchor is God or Allah, because we probably are not all Christians here. But remember that foundation, because as I said, if you're grounded somewhere, then there are things that you will not do. There are things that will come your way that are so enticing. There are offers that will come your way that are so enticing. But if you remember kwenye umetoka and kwenye you're grounded in, where your foundation is, there are certain things that you would do. So I think that's pretty much it. Poleni, nimeongea sana. It's 7 minutes to 9. But if there are any questions, maybe, Matthew, I think we could address that now.
Okay, thank you very much, Grace. Wow, what a wonderful presentation there. Words of advice. I want to believe, guys, you've been encouraged and inspired that yeah, we can stand with integrity, that you know, you can rise up. Yeah, and it's real, Grace, because you know, like for example, how many media stations do we have in Kenya? Not so many, you know, few. And how many people are lucky to be in on those screens? Very few, especially like you who is now, I mean, you know, the employees of such media stations, and how many, of course, people, how many would want to get there? There are so many. That's why you some people wondering, how could Grace get there? No, there must be something. I mean, we are so many. We are thousands and thousands. How lucky can she be? And now those are the challenges and the things that youths are, you know, are going through. And what it will lead to, it will be such kind of judgment, as you gave an example of that fella on Twitter. And also there will be others who will, you know, is a question of, you know, despair. Well, there's no need of trying, because when I went to the university, we were told the first time we were, you know, we were welcomed, we were told, guys, here it's unlike your high schools where teachers read the exam papers and score. Here, what the lecturers do, they draw a circle, you know, a small circle, another one, and now a bigger one. Yes. Then they draw the papers up. If yours falls in the one in the middle, A, the other one, B, that way C, and then the rest of you soups. So, so then I was like, why read then? And you know, that became the way. I mean, of course, maybe we could read a bit, but just the bare minimum. You know, ile usiandike tu jina peke yako. And I can tell you, you know, I woke up in second year is when I saw there's a guy who is always in the library and he gets, you know, he gets first class. You know, I mean, A's in everything. Myself, I'm narega too, and I'm not getting. So I'm like, how lucky can he be that you know, he goes to the library, his paper falls in the middle circle. And I was like, no, this was not true. But now you see, those are some of the things that we are, the youth are waking up to. You know, you finish working and then you find such kind of fallacies, you buy into it, and then no need of trying, no need of even looking for a job, no need of even working hard, no need of, there was a survey, was it a survey that was done about 3 years ago, where youth say they admire the people who are corrupt? Because I mean, why work hard? And you can be corrupt and you know, you still make it. My father has been this hard worker, a man of integrity, and is poor. The other guy, he is being dragged in court every day, but well, he even gets media airtime anyway. So I think it's wonderful lessons, I must say, that I've learned, and I want to believe the audience the same. So as I'm speaking like that, I would love to give like maybe 1 or 2 people ask some questions, to give some reactions. Today, I will be happy to have somebody unmuting themselves and saying something. But please, even as we do that, can we have some reactions, some questions on the chat? Ask Grace anything. Yeah, just ask her. She is here. I prepared her that we ask questions, sometimes difficult ones. Please just ask, and yeah, let her tell us, how do you even get to China? You know, CGTN. You know, now if we thought KTN is difficult, then China must be a bit more difficult. Yeah. So anybody, you can lift your hand. Just see. I'm trying to see whether there are any comments or any question. I can see your poem, Mudia. From the poem Desiderata, there is a phrase that says, "For always there will be a greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career. Humble, however humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time." Thank you very much, Mudia, for that. Okay, fine. I'm waiting for somebody to hand or put their comments across or questions. So anybody today, I really want to give somebody. I know I rarely give people an opportunity to speak. I know our time is up, but it would be unfair if I allowed you to go without getting an opportunity to interact with Grace, even if just a little. Okay, fine. There's a question there by Elizabeth Patricia. She says, "Thanks, Grace, for coming. Well, did you ever feel like giving up in your journey? How did you handle this? And especially around that time when you are una hike Madrid, na sisi tunakuona, you are hearing me, I'm a stranger, I started following you when you were in K24. Maybe at that time when you are hiking Madrid, ukikutana hiyo time nikuone kwa Madrid, ningeaku unfollow. Anyway, just kidding. But anyway, you know, that's what we think. You know, you guys on the TV, you have achieved it. I don't have to really tupatane kwa Madrid, jamani. Okay. How do you handle that?
Actually, by the way, it's true. But can I carry on?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so it's actually true, though I have never felt like giving up because of that. But actually, there's a day, Kwanza, is how I was from KTN Studios and I had my makeup on because I prefer, I used to prefer, coming home to get off my makeup. So I'm having my makeup on and stuff. And by then I had a mask in quite time of Corona. But then I get to a KBS. I love them because zinashukisha mtu GPO. So I bought a KBS bus and then someone asks, "Ay, Grace Kuria, ata unapanda hizi?" And I'm like, okay, Connie, nafani endo happy, like, Connie, what am I supposed to use? But I'm just saying that, but that has never made me feel like giving up. Now, where perhaps I would not call it giving up per se, but sometimes there is so much that is expected of you, as I have been saying. And especially as a TV anchor, you're live on air. And remember, anything can happen when you're live on air. Breaking news can happen when it used to happen so many times. And you need to, of course, perhaps, obviously, you don't have a lot of details surrounding that, but you need to at least have some background information on something like that. So, like, for instance, the day that Anne Kananu Mwenda, the now Deputy Governor in Nairobi County, the day she was, things happened in such a quick succession. I mean, she was vetted in the morning, they approved her, or rather the whole vetting, and then she was, of course, now she was later on sworn in before 2 p.m. that day. So when this happens, when you're on air, you need to say that as it happens. But then again, I believe you may have seen this, when we are speaking, like there's some pictures that have been seen on the screen, and sauti nasikika uko chini. So you need to talk. Now, this is where you need to know what to say. And what do you say? You need to have that whole background of like when Sonko was impeached and how that happened and how we got here, the appointment of Say Benson Mutura, the one who was Speaker, Nairobi County Assembly, and now Governor. You need to have facts here at your fingertips. You need to have them because at any moment, anything can happen. And remember that time, you're now the face of the station. You cannot afford to mess things. You cannot. You just cannot. You can't. So I wouldn't say I ever felt like giving up, but sometimes you may feel like the pressure is too much. There's too much pressure. And then like now for me, because I was pretty much, the classic being thrown like under the bus or into the fire. I just got to KTN and I'm a reporter. And the next thing, I always credit my boss, Ellen, my former boss, Ellen, for that, because she gave me that opportunity. Yet I was so green in all this. I'd never anchored before, but she gave me an opportunity. So there's so much pressure. And sometimes you may feel like giving up, maybe. But I thank God I've never gotten to that point. But again, as I said earlier, it's important to have people that, you can always talk to when you feel like things are becoming too much for you. It's good to have people who have gone ahead of you, as I would put it, fellow anchors who have been there before you, who have done it all, who have achieved so many things that you want to achieve. It's always good to have them so that you can ask them, hey, when you got to such a situation, what did you do? You know, and then you always keep learning. I remember again, as I said, never stop learning. Keep learning every single day. And I think that's just it. But maybe when I was unwell last year, maybe that is where I would say I almost felt like giving up with everything, because everything was just too much. But as I said, God healed me, and we are here today, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much, Grace. There's another question, but still related. I think you've already answered it by Ibrahim, but Ibrahim says here, Ibrahim from Somalia, the session was great, and I give special thanks to the presenter. Then he says, you as journalists, during your career, did you ever discourage starting it because of the challenges you have faced? Maybe did you ever feel discouraged and felt like stopping, you know, you've gotten to an end because of the challenges? And I guess is exactly the same question that Elizabeth had asked. Did you ever feel like giving up in your journey? And I think you've already you know, answered that. Maybe one more question that I will ask on behalf of the audience. I can see there's nobody who has put their hand up. So, and please, if you are still there, please put your hand up. But if you don't know where that button is for the hand up, maybe you are lifting and your video is off, and I can't see you. The real one. Eh? So I will give you an opportunity. You can just unmute yourself, and I will give you an opportunity to say something. But Grace, social media. Almost all media people are big on social media. Of course, naturally, we know you. We see you on a tele. We will follow you. How do you handle? How do you balance your private life and this public life? And let me not name names, but I've seen, you know, issues where we just had a treat of a family feud sometime last year. It's well, not a news anchor, but you know, some celeb who had a spat, you know, on you know, some drama, husband and wife. I don't know to name them, and it was all over social media. And you know, their private life is there. I mean, their life is there as a family. And so, how do you balance and ensure that you remain sane? Because I'm imagining the have you here who likes his space. If I became popular like yourself, I would still want to remain, you know, within my safe space. I don't want people to know where I live, a lot of things, what I'm doing every day. But again, I also see the pressure. You know, you have to possibly to keep your audience engaged. Every so often, you have to keep updating them. You know, sharing something, sharing. So how do you balance and still remain sane?
All right, just know where to draw the line, because there always has to be a line. I give people what I want to give them. I let people know. No, let me rephrase that. What I let people know about me is what I want them to know. Understand? Being, you know, an anchor and all that, your life is pretty much out there. People know you. People will try to dig in, but don't give them that much information that they would need. For instance, information about your family, your children. I see, you know, some people, you know, post their children, and that's up to them, because again, it's a personal decision. I wouldn't fault anyone for doing that. But just, you know, you see, the more you expose something to someone or people, the more you're putting yourself out open for criticism. I mean, if I'm married and I choose to let people know that I'm married, and I choose to let people know that this is my spouse, so and so is my spouse, by doing that, I am simply opening myself up to anything, the good, the bad. And by the way, there's so many comments I see on social media, especially when people post their better halves, and they're like, "Sisi huku watu oh, mtachana tu." You know, I see that a lot on social media. But if I open all that to everybody, I am opening myself to criticism, because if it's, say, a relationship, a marriage, for instance, it's not perfect. I mean, there are ups and downs and all that, there are arguments and all that. So the more I'm exposing myself, the more I'm just like giving people that opportunity to bully me and to drag me down the mat because I let them. So it's you then again cannot conceal everything about yourself because you also need to be out there in the public. I mean, especially now in this social media era and the digital era, you need to be known, you need to build a brand, create a brand and all that, and have your brand thrive. But then again, choose what it is you want people to know about you. You can always be innovative about what you post on social media. You don't, okay, I post photos of myself. I mean, I posted one yesterday, another the day before, but at work, because kila mtu anajua where I work, that is CGTN. But then again, you can choose again. I'm not, please don't get me wrong, I'm not condemning anybody for doing what they do. But you can choose what it is that you want to keep to yourself. If you go on a holiday to somewhere and if it's like in where Mombasa, you won't be dressed like the way I'm dressed right now. But you know, you can always choose what to post. I'm really choosing my words carefully, but you can always choose what to post and what not to post. Like for instance, on my Twitter, right now, I've been not right now, but in the past like a few weeks, I've been posting a lot of job opportunities. So I decided to take that and run with it because number one, having the platform and having the numbers means if anybody wants a job and I post it on my platform, chances of a potential employer seeing it are so high. And and I also ask people to share whatever job opportunities they have, share, and people apply and all that. So that is one of the ways that I've chosen to, use my social media. But again, I'm not playing saint. I'm not saying I don't post myself. I'm not saying I don't post my mother, for instance, on her birthday to wish her happy birthday, or even my man for that matter. But just choose what it is you want people to know about you. If you're comfortable with people knowing everything about you, well and good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You're comfortable, people knowing everything about you. Well and good. Yeah, I know there are people we know a lot about them, and it's them who told us. Yeah, and then of course, one other thing is that there are bloggers who are very good at digging. They dig even what you didn't say. And yeah, so thank you very much. I think that's awesome lessons there. I think I can see a few more comments, and then we gonna edit. Peggy says, Grace, I have been following you since your beginning of this career. You are such a humble girl. I love how real you are. Good work. Keep doing it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, you're most welcome. Peggy. Thank you also, for the kind words. Shadrach, hi Grace, the presentation is awesome. My query is about the favor asked to get a job. How else is it dealt with in a situation where a job is already guaranteed, only waiting for a yes? Now Shadrach anashangaa sasa hii job ndio hii. A single favor, kidogo tu. How do we, na vile kumekauka, kwanza hii COVID, vile kumekauka Grace. Jamaneni, surely.
Ni ukweli kumekauka, ni ukweli times are hard, ni ukweli people have lost jobs, ni ukweli people have, been sent home on unpaid leaves. Personally, at KTN, I mean, almost all the local media houses, we had pay cuts. Personally, I was affected when I was there. So it's true, times are hard. But remember what I said. What are you gonna do to keep that job? If it's about giving your body, sleeping with someone, you're gonna have to do it again to keep that job. Can you imagine how tiring that is going to be? Because you're now under the mercies of someone, uko hapa, uko kwa mikono yangu. So if I say jump, you're going to need to jump. Because if you don't jump, I'll do this and I will kill you. Killing you, I mean, I will get you out of this place. Shadrach, it's hard. I said it's hard. I know it's hard. It is very, very hard. But how about if if, for instance, you're not already in that position, how about you pray about it? How about when you're applying for a job, for instance, like at CTN, because we, international media, mostly you apply for the job. So I did apply. I did not make this prayer, by the way, I just remembered. But how about you pray about it? People pray for jobs and you pray to get a job. And they also pray for a good working environment. But how about you also pray that it doesn't get to that? Because God is able to do anything, anything. There's nothing that is too small for him. How about you pray that you don't get yourself in such a situation? But now, in the event you are already there, please just say no. I know it's hard. Again, I repeat, see rahisi. I mean, the offer is already here. You just have to do that thing. But just remember integrity, which is our topic of discussion today. Allow me to say this with confidence, and I'm saying it because I know out of experience, the same God who made a way for you to get this job, that to show your favor, is the same God that will make a way for you to get an even better job. So just don't give in. Because atakama ni hongo, you will always need to pay for it. And then you can imagine the feeling, someone being entitled over you. I mean, if for instance, I got a job because I bribed someone or I did something else, the person has the right to come and fire me any moment, number one. The person has the right to come to me and say, unajua, kama sio mimi haungekuwa hapa wewe. That person can even give you extra responsibilities on top of what you have because they feel like you're here because of me. Well, it shouldn't be like that. We're all God's children. God is the one who blesses all of us. So all the credit should go to him. Just don't give someone else the luxury of having you here at the palm of your hands, where they can always do this and crush you. Shadrach.
Thank you very much. I hope, Shadrach, you have been spoken to and that you feel well responded to, because I know it's not easy. I will say, I'll say, and especially I know for ladies it's a bit more difficult, to be honest. But even men, as Grace said, it's it's something that we go through. But I keep wondering. I mean, the thing is, as Grace has said, how will you sustain it? And even if you are assured that it will never happen again, how also do you live with yourself? That feeling of I am only here because of ABCD. Yes, on one side you will be feeling like I merit it. Well, I'm qualified, I have the qualifications. It's only that the job was not there. I mean, I couldn't have just gotten. But I don't think the kind of body you live with is worth the the trouble. And maybe the people who have done it can tell us better, but will they even ever care to admit it? But I know it's a bondage that really, yeah. So anyway, thank you very much, Grace, for the response. And thanks, guys. I don't see, okay, there's a comment here. I support Grace on keeping your life away from the spotlight. The perils outweigh the benefits. Thank you very much. You're supporting that aspect of please be moderate on what you share. You don't want to expose yourself so much. I know there are people who have exposed themselves and actually they have ended up dying by the true story, literally. People troll you until you just can't keep up with the pressure anymore, and you hang yourself because I mean, and you are the one who gave them fodder in the first place. You give them a little more information than they they ought to have known. So let's, and again, they have said, social media never forgets. Again, you say so many things today, give a lot of information to 10 years later. That information is dug when you are now the CEO or wherever you have gotten that job of the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife or something. And then that is dug and it works against you. So yeah, yes, it's just me or the audio is off. Okay, fine. I believe the rest can hear me. I have seen Grace smile. I assume, Grace, you are hearing me. John is asking whether the audio is off. You can hear me, right? Yeah, so yes, thank you very much. So, okay, fine. I want to end the session, and as I do, I will allow Grace to make her closing remarks. But before she does, let me just show you. Yes.
Before
yes, Grace.
the Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's a question I see here from John Gitonga. He says, I have a gift of speech. How easy is it to get into media? I once wanted to walk into a media house and ask for a job. And I think down there, there's somebody said he's that daring. That's good. You need to be, as I said, willing to take risks and daring enough, going for what you want. But of course, you need to be careful. I mean, I'm thinking of KTN, Standard Group, and whether the guards, the wale soldiers kwa gate watakuruhusu ingie. So just don't do anything that will get you into trouble, because most of these places, that's NTV. I mean, most of these places, I don't think you can just easily walk in. But of course, what you can do is try to get an appointment with someone, not someone, the relevant person, because you also need to speak to and with the right person. If, for instance, it's at KTN, just get a contact of someone who's there and talk to them. By the way, God, there's so much. I get a lot of people texting me and telling me, Grace, I want a job. And the first thing that comes to mind is what job? Because you can't just tell me unataka job gani, you know, you need to be specific. Also in the media, you can't also just tell me, Grace, nitafutia opportunity kwa newsroom. What exactly do you want to do? Kwa newsroom, kuna reporters, kuna anchors, kuna watu wa graphics, kuna editors, kuna video editors, kuna cameramen and ladies. So what exactly is it that you want to do? Be specific. So as you speak to this person who will refer you to someone who say you can book an appointment with, or just text them. Some people may be busy, but be persistent enough. You know, push, have that tenacity, push to get what it is that you want. But of course, again, you can always just apply. Sometimes, not sometimes. I mean, there are people who apply for, like for instance, as I told you with my case at CGTN, I sincerely speaking, just applied for the job and then got an interview, and the rest, as they say, is history. So don't hold yourself back. Apply, apply, apply. Even if it's 100 jobs, it can be 100 daily, but even if it's 10 jobs a day, apply, apply, apply. Push, push, push. If you have a contact of someone who you know can help you, because at times, again, as a may apply sana and you're not being recruited, you're not getting those calls, push. If there's someone you know, you can text or call, just push and pray, of course. Pray, pray, pray. And obviously, it will come to you.
Thank you very much. I want to believe, John, your question is well answered, and that you will be able now to take the bold step of moving, using the tips that you've been given. And I think it's possible. It's not impossible, because I have a friend. I can actually, he's a media he's a media person. You know him. He's called Simon Kigamba. Simon, we were with him in campus. We did the same course. And that course is not media, it's not journalism. But I remember he always kept telling me, I want to be a journalist. And that is what he became. So I think whatever you want, you can really push that direction, and you can become whatever you want. So thank you very much, Grace. I want to allow me, I should be ending in the next 2 minutes, and I will be allowing Grace to make her closing remarks. I just want to make an announcement. We have of course, many lined up programs. And maybe just to say, in the presentation of Grace, as you made your presentation today, you have referred to Mr. Wahiga quite a bit. Yes, because he's one of the speaker whom we had. And maybe for those ones who are here, I want just to give you some info beforehand. I will be hosting him sometime, so just keep a second time, sometime soon. And so keep tuned. I'll be telling you when. Of course, it's not next Saturday. Next Saturday, we have this every Saturday, and keep tuned. We have many great guests lined up. We have many great opportunities and great activities. In fact, this year we are even having a conference, by the way. Okay, details will be following, and we want just to meet and just have a wonderful time for the youths to interact with some of these wonderful guys in a whole day event. just, have them share some speeches, but also have now some one-on-ones. And, so it's one of the things that are lined up for the year, and we want the youth to learn. One other thing that we are doing, we have gone a notch higher. Those people who have been inboxing me left, right, and center, can I get a mentor? Can you mentor me? Surely I can't mentor everybody, and I cannot possibly be able to get mentors for everybody. So what I've done is that requested those people who you feel you can be able to mentor somebody, and you're willing to do that. Give me your name. I've already gotten a whole list of people who are willing to volunteer. I've also asked the ones who are willing to get mentors, mentors, and I have a list. So we are just waiting for a few preparations here, a bit of training, then matching, and then we want to even take it a bit more deliberate for those people who are looking for specific. Let's say, for example, here, Grace, and somebody who is looking for media to go into media. If Grace was one of our mentors, and John was a mentee, then it would be great if they can work together for a period and gain that experience. And that's what we really want to do. It will be diverse, whether it's business, whether it's whatever, career, anything, and that's what we are doing. And those are some of the many, many things that we are lining up as we move, because we want to be intentional. We want to bring real transformation and be a blessing. I mean, when we had hold you, one thing that we believe is that you will also go and pass it on to the next person. And when you do it, we make Kenya a better place. I mean, all of us. And therefore, part of the things that we are doing is I want to share this. Kindly allow me. I know you will ask me, calendar, they look beautiful. Yes, they do, but they are coming too late. Some people challenged us that Matthew, I mean, this comes with quite a few costs, and we don't charge for our program. So any costs that are there, it's either I foot them, or maybe somebody like you who may feel like nataka kuchanga kidogo, nilipe Zoom or something. Yeah, those ones will do that. But we've prepared, some guys came up with an idea of preparing some merchandise, some calendars there, some other stuff like, oh, this is not part of the calendar, but anyway, it's good for you to see. It's one of our beneficiaries of this program presenting a portrait that she did for Mr. Waikira, but it's not part of the calendar. And yes, we also have notebooks and diaries, and I will be sharing this in the WhatsApp group. If you are interested, you can place an order. I hope you like them. And these are some of the things you can do, be able to acquire a piece and help us support the many activities that we have lined up. Of course, Grace here, I'm not gonna pay her after this because I don't have the money, but I wish you guys had given me the money. I would have given her some 2K for a wonderful presentation after this. Thank you very much, Grace, for doing this. Anyway, what I'm saying is that yes, we get a lot for free, but it's not because it's cheap. It's just because we have people who are willing to just to give. But there are other things that we may not be able to do without money. I cannot tell Zoom that you guys of Zoom, I'm doing some wonderful work. Please don't charge me. That bill, my account by a certain date now, so and such kind of things, and many other costs that we have as we run this. Yeah, so if you are willing to support us, and by getting a calendar, by getting a notebook, a diary, yeah, and a few other things that we have, or you can just say that, okay, Matthew, you can just support one. Well, how much is a program per month? Zoom, and you want to pay for us? I'll be very happy, because I want to believe it's transformational. I mean, when we bring Grace here or any other speaker, and they inspire your life, then whatever you get is not even worth any amount of money that you can contribute to this. So feel free to support us. I'll be sharing this in a WhatsApp, and somebody can share our link, the WhatsApp link here, for those ones who might want to join our WhatsApp group who are not there. Just share it, and then that will be it. So Grace, I want to give you an opportunity to make your closing remarks. And as you do that, I want to really appreciate you. Thank you very much. I'm most grateful. Every time I inbox a person like you, who I believe in an ideal week, you will get so many inboxes from strangers like myself. People, yes, just taking time to read. And because for me to be able to convince you, I must write something long. So it will take time and deliberateness. I'm sure these are the kind you are like, this is too long. I don't have time to read. But again, if I send you just a message of, hi, I'm Matthew, I'm like, so why do I care? So I must send you a long message. So the fact that you could read a long message from a stranger, warm to it up, I warm up to it, and then, you know, get back to me and tell me that, Matthew, you're doing an awesome job. I would love to be part of it. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. And now even making it and coming here and being with us here, preparing, I do not take it for granted. And even as I've just said, I'm not even paying. You know, if I was paying, I would say the first line would be, dear Grace, I have a program and I pay 50,000 per hour, and then, you know, that would be already exciting. That, okay, and what is this 50,000 about? Yeah, but I mean, I really thank God that you could do that. God bless you so much, and may He expand your territories. I hope when we invite you on a second time, you could come. But I want to appreciate you and also say, I give you an opportunity to make your closing remarks. Thank you.
Amen. I received the blessings. And about the DMs, man, I get so many DMs every single day, but I respond to them. Lakini sio zote. There are some people who wanataka tu kukusumbua, so is the one alenga. But I try to, you know, respond to my DMs hata kama it's not on time. So I started by saying I'm happy and humbled and privileged to be here, and I want to repeat that. I'm so humbled to have been here. I'm grateful to all of you that listened to me. I'm not used to doing this, as I said, so I don't even know how I did, but I am grateful that you listened to me. I'm grateful to you, Matthew, for this opportunity. I'm grateful to all of you that listened and sent in the questions. I just want to finish with basically what I have already told you. Know what you want, go for it, work towards achieving it. Don't be afraid to dream. Dream as big as you want. There's a clip that I think maybe some of you could have seen on social media that was doing rounds of a child, a boy, a small boy, just telling the mom, you can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want. You can even be president. And the mom was like, okay, do you even know what it takes to be a president? But I want to believe if the mom listened to the boy, even if she may not be president someday, because then again, it has to be what you want, but she doesn't want to be that. But even if she may not be president, she could be a president of a company or something. Just dream big. Do not be afraid. But after dreaming, don't stop there. Do everything you can to achieve it. Start working towards achieving it. Start aligning yourself towards achieving that dream. God bless all of you. And Philippians, by the way, Philippians 4 says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens. So once you have Him as your anchor, you know, as I'm telling you to, don't be afraid to dream big. You know that as you dream, you can do anything. As a me, I believe, okay, I'm not saying I believe in myself. Yes, I believe in me. But then again, I believe in God more because He tells me that I can do everything through Him who strengthens me. So mi naamini naweza fanya anything ninataka. Hata kama siko penye I would want to be, perhaps I know, and I know it in my spirit and in my heart that I can be anything I want to be, and I can do anything through Him. So perhaps you could say the same for yourself, and that will come to pass someday. Thank you so much. God bless all of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, we can do anything and we can be anything through Christ Jesus who strengthens us. Thank you very much to Grace and every other person for sparing your time to come. Yeah, sitting there, we have extended for quite long. God bless you so much for your patience, for your battles, and for everything. We do not take it for granted that you come. God bless you so much. And invite other youths, share, get to our YouTube channel, subscribe there, share the teachings we have. We have tens of videos there. I was checking the other day, I was seeing we have 50 something, and I still have a pile of almost, I don't know, God knows how many, so many that we have not uploaded just because they require a bit of finances, editing, and here and there, and we will edit them. Powerful stuff. Yeah, so share, let as many youths as possible benefit, and may God richly bless you. And I'm happy to hear, Grace, when you say you are not used to this side, maybe one day I should come, you interview me. I give you.
Yes.
CGTN, and people in China, they see me, who watches CGTN? Is it Chinese or Kenyans? Anyway.
You're like Churchill. People tell Churchill that he's interviewing so many people, but he's never been interviewed. So one of these days you should, be here and we get to know more about Matthew.
We will organize that, and I hope these guys will cheer me on. Mutakuja kuwatch. I hope mutawatch. The 18 of you. Anyway, okay. Thank you very much. God bless you so much. Have a lovely night. As I always play our anthem, you would love to hear it. Is the one I leave you watching. Is a song I love. I play it every evening, and it says, "Your goodness is." Hallelujah. Yeah. Just enjoy that and have a blessed night. God bless.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.